Good. Okay. Okay. So announcing to everyone. Okay. Cool. See who starts to funnel on. Either way, I got some cool stuff I want to go over. Okay. 7 Hermetic principles. 7 Hermetic principles are one thing I'm not gonna go over. One thing I'm going over today. Because I think these are learning these principles, these 7 Hermetic principles are like basically laws of the universe. And if you're watching this, you might have heard of them before. Maybe not. But it's all good either way. I find that ever since I started learning about the Hermetic principles, things started to kind of expand in my life. Just learning to live harmoniously with those principles. So, yeah, I'm really stoked. Cool, feeling good. Why don't I just start going over those, because this is gonna be I know people are gonna watch the recording. And as people hop on, then they can ask questions and things. So okay, let's go ahead. I pulled up first and foremost, before I pull up Hermetic principles or start going through the Hermetic principles, I want you guys to know where they came from. Okay, so Hermes Trismegistus, here's like a little picture of the guy. Hermes Trismegistus comes from, he's a figure that basically is looks like it's a syncretic combination of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. So I believe that this is a man that existed when he was back in ancient Egypt, and he was so knowledgeable about the workings of the world, the way the world works, the way that God worked. God or source, right? Universe is God. God is the universe, right? He was really knowledgeable and really good at studying on how these things worked, and he was able to also pass those out. He created what are called the Emerald Tablets, and the Emerald Tablets are what is now created or turned into the Kabbalion is the name of the book. So the Kabbalion is a book that shares the 7 Hermetic principles, which I'll go over here in a minute. But Hermes Trismegistus, I believe he was a real man, and he was so knowledgeable about the workings of the world and the universe that they deified him. Basically, they made him into a god because he was so sharp. And so if you've heard of the Egyptian god Thoth, that's who he was named after. He's the bird god, the god of knowledge. And also the god of Hermes in ancient Greece, ancient Rome. Hermes was also a god of knowledge, god of boundaries, roads and travelers, thieves, athletes, shepherds, commerce, speed, cunning, wit, and sleep. I thought he was a god of knowledge as well. The herald of gods, considered the protector of human heralds, travelers, thieves. So Hermes Trismegistus is a mixture between the two. But I think he was a real man, and just these stories that have been passed down, kind of deified him, such as Jesus Christ is another being who has in a lot of ways been deified. And Jesus Christ, I believe, was a human that reached a high level of consciousness, a really high level of consciousness, enlightenment, if you will, became one with God. And because of what he achieved and the things he was able to teach, people were like just always astounded by his words, the truth that he spoke, just because he was able to get himself to a specific consciousness. And so leaders, government leaders of the world used Jesus's knowledge, his notoriety, his fame to kind of control people. And so if you look at ancient Rome, Constantine and I don't remember his name, but the Pope at the time, they created the Bible that exists now, the King James version of the Bible. And so Hermeticism, basically the idea, the knowledge behind it is to teach the things that the greats of history practiced themselves in order to gain higher consciousness, higher knowledge, higher wisdom, such as, people I think like Jesus. And Leonardo da Vinci was a hermetist. He was into hermetics. And Pythagoras and a bunch of different Greek philosophers that you think of, they all practice the same ideology. So 7 hermetic principles, they're basically laws of the universe. So I wanted to just go through them before we go through charts. I wanted to go through these because when we start to see how these principles or laws, if you will, how they interact or they affect our world, we can start to live a little bit more harmoniously with them, and we can basically be more conscious of energy. That's the main thing, is realizing how energy shows up in the world. First, so why don't I just go into it? So the first principle is the principle of mentalism, and it's stated as the all is mind, the universe is mental. So the all, which is the universe or God, is mind. So what that means is basically that this experience, us as humans, we're like a dream of God, okay? But also our minds are a fractal of the mind of God. So if the mind of God can create, then that means that we can also create with our mind. So the mentalism states that universe is akin to mental projection. Basically, we are a dream of God. So manifestation 101. So basically, to become physical, to create it in the physical, first, it's created in the mind. In the end, this is all fake. None of it's real anyways. So how to apply it? Basically, realizing that every single one of our thoughts creates our world. So whether you're thinking, yes, I'm amazing, life's beautiful, I'm so abundant, or you're thinking, oh, dang, today sucks, you're creating more of whatever that you're thinking about. Okay, so number 2 is the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. So basically, as within, so without also. This kind of connects also with thoughts. But I'll read what it says here. So maybe never heard it before, but it was Hermes who coined it. So it's closely related to the first principle. It just explains that the many planes of existence, including the lower and the higher vibrational frequencies, and how they're all connected. So the way I see this is how we are in one aspect of our life is how we are in all of them. So how we do the small things is how we do the large things. Okay. For instance, if we don't take care and patience and consciousness, if we're brushing our teeth, then how are we going to take care and patience and consciousness maybe when we're driving a car or running a business, right? So as above, so below, how the small things are or how the large things are. As above, so below, how God is how we are. Okay. How the universe is how we are. The macrocosm versus the microcosm. It's just the reason why we can trade and we can recognize patterns and make money consistently is because the patterns are consistent. They're things that repeat over and over. So as above, so below. It's all fractals. Okay, the third one is the principle of vibration. So this, to put really simply, is that everything is energy. Everything is moving. Everything, even the things that you think are solid, they are just a lower frequency. And they're moving so slowly and so subtly that it's not noticeable. So that means that, yes, none of this is solid, even though it feels like it. None of this is actually solid. Nothing. It's kind of interesting to think about. And there's a lot of space. We all learn this in science and physics, right? There's a lot of space between all the atoms as well. So how do we apply this? It looks different to everyone, but basically we want to, our frequency, our vibration is determined by our thoughts, okay? And there's a lot of things that go into play into what determine our thoughts. Sometimes our breath can affect our thoughts, truly. If we're taking scarce breaths, if we're only breathing into our chest, then our thoughts might also be scarce, right? But if we're taking deep, abundant breaths, then our thoughts might be more abundant. And if we, without even mentioning the thoughts, we can talk about how our breath affects our heartbeat. Our heartbeat is what puts our frequency out into the world, right? And so every time we breathe shallow, our heartbeat's a little faster. It's got to work harder because there's not as much oxygen in each breath. But when we breathe deep into our belly first, then into our chest, right, into our throat, deep breath, every single breath, the breaths are more abundant, so our heartbeat's going to beat slower because it doesn't have to work as hard. There's more oxygen every time it's pumping out. Okay, so everything vibrates. And so when we set our frequency to match the vibration of whatever we want to experience, then we're going to experience that. Let me show you one way that we can do that. One thing that I'm working on. We got a new printer. And after we got a new printer, we started printing off, they say me, all the things that we want to experience. Okay, this is how we start to vibrate. One way that we can start to vibrate with the things that we want to experience. So I'm in this place now where I'm really good. I'm really stable. I'm in a really comfortable house, you know, but I'm ready to expand. I want to start to have properties all over the world or have access to them. And so what I've done is effectively I started printing pictures out of spaces, of places that I want to be, that I want to experience, that I want to look at. And so just like I'm sharing the principles here on my screen, right? The Hermetic principles, this one of vibration. And if our vibration is determined by our thoughts, and if our thoughts determine our frequency and we want to experience something and everything is vibrating, we simply need to just change our frequency to match what we want to experience. So, okay, I have this picture here. Let me make it big again. Of a cool loft that I want to have in a crib I want to experience. This one's a funny one. Kind of. This is a dome house in Jordan, and you'll see there's a cat taped on. It was a picture of a girl with a baby, and so we have to be really careful about what we manifest. This girl in the picture, you can kind of see she's actually blonde, just like my girlfriend is. And the blonde girl holding a baby, I'm not ready to manifest a baby personally. So we chose to put one of our cats over the picture of the girl with the baby so that we're not putting the energy into manifesting a baby right now. So maybe one day, but not right now. But what I'm getting at is we printed all these pictures out. And this wall you see right here, I'm going to be taping all these pictures to this wall so that I'm looking at these things all the time. So every time I look at this, even if it's subconscious, I'm going to have thoughts going out, okay? So right here, just look at this dope couch with the trees behind it. Something I want to have in my crib. Here's another spot. Look at this cool loft. There's like not a loft, but there's a pool connected to this couch area. You got a little fire in it. We got a cool garden that we want to have, right? Got the interior of the jet that I wanna be flying around in. We got pictures of a cool trading desk. I wanna have a property that has a trading desk, like 10 different trading desks for the team of traders that we got rolling, and everyone else that we add to it. So you see what I'm doing, we just talked about the principle of vibration. And so I'm telling you how to put this into practice. So simply, just like a radio, you want to listen to a certain station. What do? You turn the dial and you attune, you align the frequency of your radio to the frequency of what the radio station is putting out, so that you can experience that experience, right? That music that they're playing. Your life is no different. So the way that you tune your radio station are by your thoughts, by your feelings of yourself. This is why I talk so much about reprogramming the subconscious, because most of our thoughts are automatic. Our subconscious processes 2 million bits of information per second, while our conscious mind only can do 40. And so when we program the subconscious mind, just like everyone here, like you got eyes, you got ears, right? Like it's not something you think about. If someone comes up to you and be like, oh, haha, laughing at you, you don't have eyes. You're like, what? No, like, yeah, I do. Like, you don't doubt it, right? So imagine if you could feel the same way about money, or about freedom, right? Or about expansion and growth. Where what if someone tells you and says, oh, and they laugh at you, they go, hey, you're broke. When you're like, oh, wait, no, I'm not broke. You see what I'm saying? It's a different experience. It's a different reaction than someone saying, hey, you don't have eyes, right? Because we all maybe have experienced being broke at one time of our life, or feeling that way. Maybe we weren't actually broke, right? And so we have some kind of attachment. Well, maybe compared to others, maybe I am broke, right? But imagine if our subconscious was so solid that when someone said it, it's like, no, clearly I'm not. Just like I have hair, I'm also wealthy. Just like I have eyes, I'm also free, right? I don't doubt it for 1 second. Okay. So that's why I talk so much about the subconscious. But anyways, tuning our radio station frequency to match the frequency of that we want to experience. We want to have in our space, what inspires most of our thoughts are our senses, our 5 senses. Those are what inspire our thoughts. We take a bite of something good. Oh, wow, that tastes so good. We're thinking about how good it tastes and the pleasure coming from the taste in our mouth, right? When we see something cool, we see a beautiful sky or a beautiful view, we're like, wow, this looks so beautiful, right? So the thought was inspired with our senses. So we want to make sure that our senses are always being stimulated with things that we want to experience, right? So we want to make sure that that's why they talk about manifestation, why it's really important to go into thinking, meditating, believing that you already have what you want. What does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it taste like? What does it smell like, right? Going into all those experiences. So by me taking pictures of all the types of places I want to travel to, experience, all that, call it a dream wall, call it a dream board, I am effectively putting this in front of my face, so I'm looking at it every day. So even if it's subconscious, it's still there. It's going into my mind all the time. So in a way, I'm aligning my radio frequency, my radio station, to the frequency that those things that I want to experience are at. So eventually it will happen. I will experience it. I've done this, guys. The first time I ever did this was I'm 28 now, almost 10 years ago. I was 19. And I had a friend, a really, really rich friend, who I got to go over. His parents were rich. He's rich now too. But I don't know, I make probably as much money as he does. So anyway, doesn't matter. His dad was so wealthy and so inspiring. They had this 20,000 square foot house, like basketball court in the house. They had like 6 garages, every tool you could ever think of. Like it was dope, because I didn't grow up that way. And so I got to expand my awareness to what's possible. And where am I going with this? Oh yeah, he told me about how his favorite place to vacation was the Grand Wailea, this hotel on Maui in Hawaii. But this hotel is like for the cheapest room, we're talking $500 a night. It's like a 5-star hotel. And so at the time, I didn't know the price. I just knew that this multi-millionaire talking about his favorite place to vacation, showing pictures. And so I had seen it. Like, I'm not a multi-millionaire. So I like separated, like, okay, like I got to experience this vacation. To experience this place, I have to be a multi-millionaire, because that's who's talking to me about it. So what did I do? I learned about dream walls, and I put a picture of the view of this hotel on my wall. And I'm gonna make a video about it because I still got footage from my camera, from my phone from when I actually traveled. But a year after I put a picture of the view from a room of the Grand Wailea, this hotel that I thought that I had to be a millionaire to actually go, I won a full full expenses covered for 1 week to Hawaii, to Maui, to the exact same hotel that I had put on my dream board, on my dream wall, I should say, in my room just a year before. So this totally works, and I've done it a lot in the past. I just haven't done it recently in the last 8 months. So I think it's cool to always look to experience new things. And so yeah, that's what I'm putting up. I have tons of pictures that I won't share, but I shared some of the physical stuff I want to experience. But I also think that it's empowering to not share some of the things you're manifesting too much, because you never really know people's thoughts deep down. People say, hey, don't share something because it messes with the manifestation. That's halfway true. It really just depends on who you share it with. The challenge is we just don't know people's thoughts deep down, because the reason is everything is energy. Thoughts are energy, and people's thoughts and people's words, people's you know everything, they're casting spells, we're sending energy, right? And so some people you tell about your dreams and like to your face they'll be like, wow, that's amazing, like that's so cool, but behind your back they're jealous because they don't have very high self-worth, and so they're going to look down like nah, they can't experience that, because if I can't experience that, then they shouldn't be able to, right? And so they're sending negative energy, doubting you and doubting your dreams, and so that's kind of taken away from the manifestation power of your dreams. So yes, exactly. You can tell the fakes, and the universe does, right? And it just depends on our focus. But just know that it can be more powerful to not share things, or just make sure you're conscious though if you are sharing. Like, does this person, are we going the same direction? Do we want the same things? Would they have my back? Would if I'm really successful, would I share with them? And if they're really successful, would they share it with me in whatever ways? It doesn't mean giving money away, but it could, right? So just being really conscious of that. So, okay, I want to continue on with the Hermetic principles. There's 7 total. We're on number 4. So, by the way, the book that actually goes through these principles, the original book, I don't know if it's original, but the main one is called the Kybalion, Kybalion. It's really confusing, to be honest, that book, but it explains all these laws more in depth. Okay, so number 4 is the principle of polarity. So everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has an opposite. Just like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. Let me put this really simply for you guys. Okay, we're talking about opposites, hot and cold. What this is saying is that hot and cold are not different things. They're just different degrees of the same thing, okay? We can take this everywhere. Male, female. The male and female actually is another principle, the principle of gender. But yeah, that still goes with polarity. Evil and good. That's a big thing that people don't look at, right? The yin and the yang, the whole, right? Is all of it. Source, God, creator is all of it. Okay. In Christianity, they talk about the devil. Devil's trying to get you. And what I believe actually is that the devil, end quote, the negative, it's just the polar opposite of the positive, right? It has to exist. We can't know light without the dark, just like night and day, right? We can't know day without night. We can't know night without the day. And I think that demons, devil, stuff like that, these are all just the dark places in our subconscious mind, the tendencies to do negative things, or the negative thoughts, or the what sin we can call it, but the original sin is doubting our divinity. So any thought that is not in alignment with our divinity, such as, let's say, if we're to steal from someone, we're stealing from someone that is in a way that is doubting our divinity, because we maybe believe that I need to take from someone else to have this thing, to achieve this thing. And so in Christianity, they call it a sin. You'll go to hell, if you sin. But I think it's more of we are doubting our divinity. And that is the sin purely. And if we didn't doubt our divinity, we wouldn't need to steal from someone, because we know that we are fully capable and fully powerful to create anything we want in our life. So, and I love it, Alan, you just said pain is on the same mind receptor as pleasure. There you go. So, one thing you see what it says here is extremes meet. Extremes meet. Okay, so I want to share an example of this, of how polarity shows up in the world. Think about I know this is pretty extreme, but suicide bombers, people who think it's a good idea and part of their religion even, and it's going to get them closer to God, to go and blow themselves and a bunch of other people up. And so this is, in my opinion, an example of how extremes meet. What do I mean? Somehow they got it so twisted, but also it must be partially true, because by performing something so evil, eventually this says extremes meet. So the extreme of how good something can get and the extreme of how evil something can get, they will meet. Just like the extremes of hot and extremes of cold, somehow they will meet. That's another reason why they say, if you ever learn in school that if you want ice cubes faster, if you put hot water in instead of cold water, it freezes faster. So for whatever reason, though, these suicide bombers, they come to either a realization, or they decided that by practicing maybe something so evil, it gets them something closer to good, the good of God, the extreme of positivity. So it's not personally my path. I'm not going to go that route, no way. Because we can just go one direction, and experience the extremes. We don't have to go into the polarity too much, the dark, to experience high levels of light, but we must accept it. We can't hide from it. We have to become one with it. We have to realize that, the negative parts of ourselves, the evil tendencies that we might have, which is just doubting our divinity. That is kind of part of our nature. And by not running from it, we can become the master of it. So it doesn't become the master of us and take over our body. So truth lies in the balance. Yes. Everything happens for a reason. Just live my life with pure good intentions. Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. Conscious is at peace. Exactly. You keep the good intentions and they keep coming. A string on an instrument is a balance of loose and tight. Where they meet is where it resonates. Beautiful, Daniel. Yes. What you just said, just what Nyasho said, balance. Balance. Okay, that's polarity. By the way, polarity and rhythm. This is the principle of rhythm. Let's go through this first. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Okay, so this is a key to a happy life, is to not allow yourself to be moved with the pendulum. Okay, is to stay balanced. Yes, Alan, Bollinger Bands. Exactly. So eventually it's going to come back to neutral if you allow yourself to get to extremes. So principle of rhythm, yes, first of all, we can trade the charts, because we can watch the tides of the ocean. They flow in and out. The charts flow in and out. The seasons flow in and out. Our breath flows in and out, right? The in and out, the rhythm, the wave, right? The waveform. It exists everywhere. Now, most people, see, this is the rhythm that the world goes in, okay? And most people just follow this rhythm. And this rhythm is determined by many different factors, alignment of the planets, what they decide to put in the news, whatever, right? Just flowing in and out. We can effectively just become neutral and ride the waves in either direction, so that we're not affected in our emotions, in our experiences, in our relationships, all of it. Okay. How do we achieve balance? Detachment, right? How do you achieve balance in anything? Detaching. When we have emotional attachment to an outcome, in a situation, and it doesn't happen, we're going to be upset, right? If we're day trading and we're making money, we're doing well, we're getting really excited all of a sudden. I made 5 trades in a row. I'm up 30% in the last hour, doing really good. Wow, I'm getting excited. Woo, let me go all in, right? That excitement, let's look at that as a waveform. The excitement is the higher form of the wave. Sadness, depression, all that, that's in the low form of the wave, right? So if we allow ourselves to experience extreme excitement while trading or anything else, we should expect that we're going to pendulum swing to the other side equally. And that if our highs are high, our lows are going to be pretty low. Okay. So you feel that principle of rhythm. This applies to everything. Okay, two more. The principles of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. So what this means effectively is anything that happens to you in your life, you created it. Consciously or unconsciously, you created it. You get into a car accident, or you come across the lottery winning ticket. You win $10 million. You created that, whether you think it's chance or not. You see this? What does it say? Chance is but a name for a law not recognized. Okay? So what that means is that we are literally the God of our life. You create your life, all parts of it, all of it. And sometimes, a lot of people think about things that happened in our childhood. Well, I was born into this family, and I didn't choose to go through this. I didn't choose for my parents to do this. I didn't choose for that. I got really lucky, or I got really unlucky. Well, that's because you don't remember that your existence is more than just this life. You've existed before this body in this life. Okay. So whatever you did in previous lives or other lives of your ancestors and all that, you in part, you did create these experiences. But the cool thing is, because you've created what you experienced, you can also create going forward. You can shift and change things now and going forward at all times. So, okay. Last one, principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The seventh principle states that all things have masculine and feminine qualities. The two sexes can be thought of as physical manifestation of this principle, but as we're all coming to understand on an internal level, all of us hold both energies, like left and right brain, So I like a lot of men now are like, there's a lot more men in the world that are in tune with their emotions, right? And women love that, and a lot more sensitive people. It's just that it's more okay. It's more socially acceptable. These energies have always been in us, but there's just been time in the world where it wasn't acceptable to let those energies flow. So how to apply? Accept all parts of yourself. Understand the balance, once again, in all is key for self-mastery. Buddha called this the middle way, and it's all about the balance of masculine and feminine, of heavenly and earthbound, of mind, body, spirit. When we can achieve balance within ourselves, we're equipped to harness all these principles and use them in our lives for good. Okay, guys, so these principles are great to live by. Now, coming off, if you never heard of the Hermetic principles before, it can be kind of, I try to put some simply, just kind of my play on my thoughts of them. Not that I'm perfect, and I have a lot to study, but what I will say is, I believe that Hermeticism, that going down that path, will lead you to higher truth. In my experience, going down the path of Hermeticism has led me to higher truth than anything else that I've ever practiced or done. And so some of you know I've talked to you before, but I've definitely practiced Christianity, different types, and I've practiced Mormonism, I practiced Buddhism, I practiced Hinduism. And what I will say is, out of all of these, Hinduism and Buddhism aren't as organized as the other religions. By the way, and I haven't fully practiced Islam, but I've read the Quran, and I've read the Torah. I've read the books, some of the Jewish books. I've read a ton of the Hindu books, and what has gotten me the most, what has led me to the most expansion, the most rapid way, expanding my consciousness in ways that I never thought possible. Literally now, my mind, my day-to-day thought processes, my consciousness that I experience now. I used to have to take a micro or maybe even a macro dose of psychedelics to be as conscious and aware as I am now. And part of that, yeah, diet and all these other things go into it. But I will say that it is 100% the practices that I learned by going down the path of learning more about Hermeticism. So when the student's ready, the master will appear. So I've given you plenty to go out and study right now. So if you feel called to, that path, then go ahead and just start looking it up. So, but what I'll say is, out of everything I practice, this is the path that's led me to higher truth and to being able to realize that, just like Alan said, seeing them all together, all spiritual, every religion, every organized thing, they all have their truths. And I do believe that some practice higher truths more than others. Some are more, they give more energy, or they allow the people they follow to cultivate more energy. But even so, nothing is as powerful has been as powerful as me going basically through Hermeticism, going direct to source. Whereas instead with Hinduism, right, I was going through people. Even if I was reading a book on my own, I was still reading a book that was written by other people. And so by kind of skipping that, going straight to source, expanding my consciousness, expanding my energy on my own with practices that are proven, yeah, it's done so much. It's done really well for me. So once again, people who have gone down the path of Hermeticism, some of the greats of the greats, Shakespeare, Leonardo da Vinci, I definitely believe Jesus did, for sure. I believe that actually King Solomon, some of you guys have heard of King Solomon, but King Solomon's practice, he called it the science of kings, these Hermetic practices, and that only royalty got to even experience these. So yeah, why stop? I love expansion. Exactly. We can go forever. That's the thing, and that's the key. It's like true joy is realizing, see, most people that have goals are like, oh, if I could just have this, people are working a 9 to 5, if I could just make another $5 an hour, I'll be happier. If I could just quit my job and make money as a business owner, or a business owner, if I could just make my, have everyone work for me, my business, and have everything working so I don't have to do it, right? Everyone focuses on just going to the next level. Once I get this level, I'm happy. But then they get that level and they realize, wow, okay, that was cool for a minute. But, just like if you buy a brand new car, it's cool for the first month or two, maybe even the first 6 months. But after a year, you're like, yeah, whatever, this is normal, And that's how life is. And so we need to be expanding forever, or we're going to get bored. We always can go to the next level. So I find the number one attachment humans have is the attachment of looking for God through others. Yes. And where that comes from is how they were raised as a child. How we were raised as children will determine, in my opinion, a lot of the ways that we search for God, or we relate to God or to the universe. And so in a way, just in my own experience, I was my parents, it was a lot more tough. I had a lot more tough childhood than many other people that I know. But because of that, I had to learn self-reliance, and I had to learn to take care of myself at an earlier age. And so naturally, my thoughts, you got to think, if I was kind of programmed that way as a child, then how I am in one aspect of my life is how I'm going to be in all of them. And so if I'm looking for spirituality, I'm going to find these deeper truths of knowing that, I need to find this on my own. A lot of people, they go to church and they want church to be their mommy and daddy, because maybe they didn't have such a fulfilled, empowered childhood. And so they feel kind of empty going into adulthood, and they're like, what the fuck is this going on? Excuse my French, but like, what is this? What is this world that we're doing? Like, what is this experience? What is this body? What is this life? They don't know, because their parents probably didn't know and weren't able to actively teach them to interact with the world. And so because of that, people look for others who tell them what to do. Oh, this man looks happy, right? This person on stage, he's speaking about this, and he's got this beautiful church, and he looks happy, and everyone's listening to him, and everyone's saying yeah and clapping to his words. So maybe what he's saying, maybe that's what's going to fix me from this feeling of not knowing and feeling empty, right? But in the end, it's all, no matter how many lifetimes we go through, or how many experiences in one lifetime even that we go through, eventually, if we if we want to expand to get on the path to the highest version of our spiritual being, we have to come to that realization that it's all within us, that we cannot rely on other people. So just like Nyasha said, yes, biggest attachment would be this life. We don't want to die before feeling ultimately achieved. Yeah, exactly. And but that's where most people go through, but that's even then that's a fear of death, because it's fearing the unknown. But when we reach the consciousness of realizing that death is nothing, death is a lie, there is no real death. This, even if our body may die, our spirit goes on forever. This body is just like a sock. It's like being attached to this body is like being attached to a sock. Oh, you haven't taken that sock off in a week now, bro? It stinks. Like, come on, you can get you some new socks. You can wash them, right? They got these new socks that are like really comfy, like silk socks. You can check those out, right? No, instead, no, I want to keep this dirty sock, right? It's lucky I've had it on. Maybe my foot won't ever be warm if I take it off, right? And so once we can do the same thing to our body, we realize that, hey, this body, it's not us, it's not it, right? This body can, I do believe that we can experience things that people would assume are magical powers, like what Jesus did, right? Healing the sick and all that. I do believe that our body is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. But in the end, it's not our full being. Our full being is so much more expanded than what this body is, right? So when we have that idea, when we know, okay, I'm good, then we can go for things a lot harder, because even being scared of not achieving enough, living in fear, you're going to hold yourself back. You might not go as hard into things as you could, or you might go too hard and not have the best results. So this retrograde is bringing such a great shift. It's like we're mourning our old lives. Yeah, I actually agree with you. It feels like there's definitely this transition is happening, and it's like for me, it's like leveling up, and just some of the things and the people that, and I've been through this. I've been through this like multiple times in my life, where you can just feel that you're going to the next level, and it's like, okay, closure of the last, okay, get out any little actions or thoughts that are attached with the old version of you. Let's just get them out and be done with them forever, and let's move on to the next. So yeah, I definitely feel that. Lika was on here. Doesn't look like she is anymore. Lika's really, really good with astrology, a lot more in tune than I am. So if you're in the Signal group, we could ask Lika what's going on too. But she's not here right now, so that's okay. Okay, am I sharing my screen still? Yeah, so we got through the 7 principles. And I've been going on this for a while, so that's pretty good. I feel good about maybe going into some charts. I thought Keon was gonna hop on, but he didn't make it, so that's okay. I want to open up though, if you guys have any questions about Hermeticism, and I talk about Hermetic practices. I didn't mention any Hermetic practices here, but there's lots of books out there. I believe that it's the next level, that I used to study like ancient Judaism. I used to study Tibetan Buddhism, or not Judaism. I meant ancient Egyptian theology a little bit, and I believe they practice things really well. But a lot of those truths from ancient Egypt, or the true name of Kemet, it's all kind of been hidden, taken. And so if we can find the true practices that are actually have been created to expand our consciousness, and they work, the royal sciences, just practicing those, we'll come to the higher truths. They kind of come to us. It's really interesting. So that's all I got to say about that. Yeah, let's go through charts, huh? How are we feeling, guys? Feeling good? Appreciate everyone, your energy, just being here. Those of you commenting, sending questions and stuff, I love it. Even though it's not, just being present, your energy is contributing to this. And so let's go. Okay, yesterday I announced in the group a Euro USD trade. This second, it's not looking as good as it was yesterday, but we'll see. I'm patient. So let me tell you why I made it. Here I have a purple line, or let me go to the daily. I got a purple line that was support, and we can see back in, do I want to go all the way back? I will. We mess with this level in 2002, in 2000, in 1986, 1986 twice, a little bit in 1989. So this is a level that's kind of been around for a while. Now, also, the euro hasn't been at $1 since 2002. It hasn't been under $1 since earlier 2002. So also 2002. So it's cool. We're experiencing something that we haven't experienced in 20 years. And so we're now under $1, but to me, the euro we tested this basically 99-cent dollar level. We bounced, and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles it took to go up. It only took about one candle to overtake all of those downward candles. So that one candle, that shows us that the people selling are obviously a lot stronger than the people buying right now. And then on top of that, we ended up breaking down below that dollar level on yesterday's daily candle. And we actually, with the wick, retested, and we ended up closing below. So I entered off of that candle because it looks really good. And I gave myself some room with the stop loss based off of the Bollinger Band's moving average, based off of this wick up here. So we'll see today's daily candle. We got 5 hours and 43 minutes left. We'll see how it closes. If we were to close how it looks right now, I would close this trade, but we got almost 6 hours left. Anything can happen. The trade is not nullified. We're still in a good spot. So let's see how it goes. You can see we got this trend line here, but we did break that support level and we've come to retest it, and we closed heavily below that purple line, below that support level. So we made a new low. So it feels good. I'm anticipating that this trade could be over the course of a week or so, and I'm okay with that. I'm watching though. Once again, if the daily candlestick closes the way it looks right now, I would close this because it's engulfing, but I have 6 hours to wait until that actually happens. So literally anything can happen. So if you're watching, if you're not in this trade currently, then it could be good to just watch the lower time frames to maybe see if there's an entry. It looks like on the 1 hour, we might be getting that entry kind of soon, based off the resistance level that we're hitting. We could potentially be hitting, but also we'll know the lower time frame as well. If we're going to end up reverse and heading higher, then we'll know. The lower time frame will tell us. So Daniel says, looking to see if price reacts to 997, 998. Yeah, that's good. We have that resistance level. I would say if we go above 998, then we're probably changing trend. We're gonna head upwards. So we'll see how the daily closes, but definitely if we close above that, I'll be exiting. So my stop loss is at $1, 1.00333. So but I give myself space because I don't want to get a wick to hit my stop loss and then it shuts me down for a little while. So yeah, okay, so we're watching. Let's see what the 15-minute looks like. We can kind of see that we've moved up really strong here on the 15-minute, multiple candles, and notice how the candle bodies are getting smaller. So that means the buyers, the price action, it's weakening a bit. So that means the movement's slowing down, and that I would believe that we might come down. So watching, if you're not in this trade yet, if you're not in a sell, you could watch the 15-minute or the 1 hour. Just wait for one of those really strong engulfing candles and some rejection candles, and we're good. Like, look at this one. Look at how this top, we got a strong wick here, and then we got an engulfing candle. So we see something like that, but right here, hop in there, get in a sell, and you'll get a better entry than what I got right now. So I'll watch, and I might add to my trade or just open up another trade. But right now, I'm just waiting, and I'm gonna wait for the daily to make a decision. So okay, GBP JPY, we just had a really strong upward candle yesterday. Seemed to be continuing a bit today. Looks good. Not any trade to enter though, because we're approaching a resistance level. I believe we're gonna make a new high, but it could take us retesting maybe this purple line, come back down, retest, and then go up. So for me, this is just kind of pending, waiting to see what happens. USD JPY is up pretty strong. So also there, no trade here. It's crazy. We might make new. Okay, no, never mind. I was like, we might make new highs here. We got the last time we were near this level was 1998. But 1972 was 300. 1975, 1973, 300 yen for $1. So we have a long ways that we could go. Let's just draw these levels out. Why not? Seems like it wants to go up forever, so maybe it will. So we have the current resistance level that we're getting so close to it that we haven't been this high since 1998. So I got another level up here. We can see back in 1990 and also 1986 that we touched that level. Let me make it orange because that's what I got the other ones as. So I'll draw a line there, and then I can see that right here we had support back in 1978. So I'll draw a line there, and I'll do this one here also where we can see support in 1981. So now I got potential levels. So basically what all I'm doing here is waiting. Like we gotta retest eventually. Like we kind of have on these monthly. We come up, retest a little bit, come up, retest. Well, this monthly has been moving up really strong for a long time. We've been in this uptrend, basically heavy uptrend since October of 2021. So I would anticipate at some point we're gonna come retest. With this one being the high, yeah, my first anticipation, my first guess would be that when we get a little closer to this level that we reject, because it's just a logical level. We break out of that, then we're gonna go to 160. So retesting and then just kind of looking at also maybe we do break above it. All in all, this isn't a trade here for me. I need to see some kind of retest. But like let's just count. We haven't really gone up this strong without some kind of retest. Like look at here. In 2014, we went up really strong. We came down. Here, we went up similar, not as long though, and we at least went sideways a little bit for a while. And we haven't seen that yet. We can look back here where we had another experience. I would say this right here from this bottom to this where this candle went down. That's similar in size to right here from this bottom to here. And notice still retest, we got a strong downward candle on the monthly. So just know, like, that's kind of what I'm expecting. Rockets can't go to space without some kind of fuel, right? Using some kind of energy or manipulating it. So that's what the retest is about, is refueling. So yeah. All right, I've been talking a lot. Any of you guys on here, you got charts that you're looking at? Any trades that you're in currently? Anything that's looking good that we should go over? Thinking about buying some crypto? Not sure yet. What you thinking? I saw Bitcoin under 18K yesterday. What are we at now? Oh yeah, we at 19. Let's go. Oh yeah, guys, Bitcoin's gonna go to 12. I believe it. Bitcoin's at 18,890 right now. We have a long time for this monthly close. We got a few days for this weekly. One thing that's really powerful that I want to tell you is the close below lows. So right here, we came down, we went up. So this low where this candle body is, these candle bodies, if we close a candle body below that, that means the low is broken and we're going to go to the next level, which to me looks like about 13 to 14,000. So looking at that, we have 4 days left for this weekly close, so we can't make a decision on that. But the daily, yesterday's daily did do it. Yesterday's daily close did close below all these candle bodies here. So I would say that based off of the daily, there's a really good chance we're going to 14K. Like really, really good. I drew this trade out. Y'all know I've been talking about this for weeks and weeks, a couple months now. Even when we bounced and we went up to the 26, whatever that we hit, or 25. I don't know how long ago that was, a month ago or whatever. I'm still telling you guys, unless we break above specific levels, I don't believe we're going down. And it actually was a perfect retest of this bottom. So price action works. What we teach works. We all could have seen this. Just this retest of May 12th of this year, where we touched that bottom, we bounced up. came down, we retested that same exact level. So, yeah. So based off of that, based off of the same analysis, that's what I'm saying. 14K looks good. I really think that we don't go lower than 9K. And 9K, I think 12 to 14,000. I'm like, I would say 69% sure. Not quite 65%, not quite 70%. 69% sure that we go to 14K. So that's why it's not a big enough reason for me to open up a big trade. Rather, I just want to wait to see what happens when we go down lower, and then I'll hop in. I'll buy more when we do. So I did buy a little bit the other day, a couple days ago, but nothing crazy. I feel like the dollar reversing could be an opportunity for volume to flow back into crypto. If the dollar continues, crypto will keep falling. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the dollar's just been going up forever versus the yen, versus the euro, versus the pound. So everybody's complaining about inflation, but all these other countries seem to be having way worse inflation. So yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel that. I've been keeping my money in dollars most of the time, or most of it the last year now. I mean, 9 months, I'll say for sure, but yeah, last year. And I'm patient. I got a lot of cash and stable coins ready to just like throw into crypto. So we'll wait. I got time. Keep flowing, feeling abundant. Ooh, okay. I think I have to go actually, guys. Yeah, I forgot. I gotta go. I have to take a call. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. We went over some good stuff today, guys. Hermeticism, a couple charts. Let me just do a quick scan really quick, see if I can. Oh yeah, one other thing I mentioned yesterday, potentially a silver short. I'm not a trade that I entered. My reasoning is because I was tired last night. We did just break a low though, and we're retesting. Seems to be something similar that we did. We're doing on Bitcoin right now too. So anyway, just watch out for that. And CAD JPY, Euro odd. Yeah, I don't see any like really good trades. Euro odd looks like it might want to start going up pretty strong. So finding an entry on that could be good. Swiss franc versus the dollar, USD CHF looks like it's about to go down. The Mexican peso versus the dollar. I don't really trade this at all. I just mostly did this for exchange right here, living here. It's just too much sideways for me. It's not fun to trade, so I wouldn't mess with that. US oil is going down. We just broke support, so it looks like next support level is at $76 per barrel. You already know Bitcoin, and I would just anticipate all the rest of crypto doing the same. So anyway, all right, guys, that's all I got. All the love, all the time. Enjoy your day. I'll talk to you soon. See you next week.